Okay, everybody hear me okay? I like to. Nope. You are going over here. Okay. Come on. Can everybody hear me now? Clear enough? Okay. Okay, so let's just work on 7.1, see if we can clear up any confusion, any difficulties we're having, and just, pound away at the homework. Who's got their book with them? Everybody got a book? Cool. Okay. Let me get my book open. All right, so, does anybody have problems you want to volunteer to do from 7.1? Or shall I cold call and force it? No volunteers? Okay, let's cold call. So, actually, before we do that, let's do just like a quick exercise from 7.1.1. If you've already done this homework, it won't be anything new, but let's run through these problems, and I'll just do them up on the board. These are asking you, I'm going to put a couple of premises up, and then it's going to ask you, what conclusion can you derive from these premises? So this will help us understand the rules of inference better. And I want to do this quickly, so let's try to do this quickly. So G then F, not F. What can I conclude from this?
Not G.
Good, not G. What rule would that be?
Modus tollens.
Modus tollens, good. So you do 1, 2 modus tollens, and I'd get not G. Good. How about S then M? What can I conclude from that? M, good. I can conclude M. What rules? Modus ponens, 1, 2, modus ponens. Okay, coming over here, R then B. Wow. That is nails on a chalkboard, literally. R then D, E then R. What can I conclude? Who hasn't answered yet? Grayson?
So you so then D? Or,
Mm-hmm. It's okay. We move on. That's fine. Anybody know?
E then D.
E then D. Good. Yeah. E then D. What rule?
Hypothetical syllogism.
Good. 1, 2, hypothetical syllogism. What's the next one? B or C? Not B. Jillian, what can I conclude from this? C. Why? What rule?
DS.
Good. So 1, 2, disjunctive syllogism. Good. Let me find my eraser. Okay, what about S and W, not S, S or N? What can I conclude from that?
So 1, 2, modus tollens.
Mm-mm. Close. For a modus tollens, you have to deny the right-hand side. Yeah, and then that will lead to a denial of the left. Yeah. Julian?
Is it N or B, 1, 3, DS?
Wait, say that one more time.
N or W, I'm sorry.
N or W.
Is that,
Mm-mm. You're close though. Did you say 1, 3 or 2, 3?
do what?
What
I said 1, 3.
what rule were you thinking for that?
I think DS.
DS? Mm-mm. You can use DS here. What can you use DS on? Sorry, this is N.
So is it N?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what line?
That would be 2, 3,
Good. 2, 3.
and then
Disjunctive
DS.
syllogism. Yeah, and that'll leave you with an N. Now let's just clear something up. Why did you think you can use 1 and 3 DS? What similarity are you seeing there?
Well, I saw S equals W, or S then W, and then not S, and for some reason, I was thinking just to add the W in because it was equivalent to S, and we took it out. Does that make sense? But now that I see that we take out W as well because we took out S.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Although, note that this is an equivalent to S.
No, but S.
Yeah, it's just implied by S. Yeah, but it doesn't go both ways. Okay, let's do some more. Oh, F then not A, N then A, not F, not A. What is with the speaker today? Jeez. Be quiet. Okay, what can we derive from this? There might be multiple things we can derive from this. Any ideas?
I got not N
Sure.
for 2, 4 modus tollens.
Good. Not N. Wow, this chalk. 2, 4 modus tollens. Not N. Yeah, that's right. There's something else we can do, right? Oh wait, is there? Nope, never mind. There's not anything else we can do. What if I did this? Is there something else we can do?
Not F.
Not S, good. From 1, 4 modus tollens. All right, good. Not K, not K, then not P, not K or G, G then Q. My K's are bad. Okay, anybody have any ideas what we could get here? Using our first 4 rules.
Not P.
Not, do you say not P?
Yeah.
From what?
From 1 to most points.
Good. 1, 2 modus ponens, not P. Is there anything else we can get?
Is it, do G for 1, 3?
Mm-mm. Close. Were you thinking disjunctive syllogism? You'd have to have a denial of one of these sides. So you'd have to deny this whole thing, which this is just the same, right? See if you're familiar. Now what if I did this? Then I can do it, right? And what if I did this? Then I can do it because those are the same things, right? A negation of a negation is just a positive. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Can we do 14?
14? Yeah. Is that N then not E?
Yes.
Okay. And then not E, not S, not E or not S, not S or N. Jeez. I really like it, really, that is going to drive me nuts. This chalk sucks. Okay. Were you thinking something in particular?
It's the double negation that kind of throws me off.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of had an epiphany last night when I was doing my homework,
Good.
kind of, but I'm still having some trouble, like deciphering some things. So
Yeah.
the double negation is kind of where I'm having an issue.
Where do you think you can use this double negation, Jillian?
3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4. So if you did on 3, what would you get?
So not E or not S?
Yeah, so if you use these two together, you just get not E.
Okay, so since both of them are, since one's, okay, so both S's will completely disappear even though.
No,
Not
no.
completely disappear.
Don't think in terms of
I mean,
shapes.
out of that line.
Yeah. So remember that with disjunctive syllogism, right? If I have the negation of one of these, right? You can think of it kind of as eliminating. And then I'm left with triangle, right? So in this case, square is this entire thing. It might help if I bracket those.
Even though 2 has 2 negations, or does it? It makes it.
You see I'm negating that
So it
S
makes
here?
it S, just period, with the
Yeah.
negation.
Mm-hmm. These are the same thing. Yeah. So if you negate a negation, it's a negation of a negation, right? And that's the same thing as just the positive. So it's just like saying not.
Mm-hmm.
It means it is, yeah. Okay, and then Grayson, did you have your hand up?
Oh, I was just going to, say that it was a disjunctive syllogism.
Okay, cool. On these two?
No, I was going to say for 2, 3, but can you also make the argument for, 2, it wouldn't be a disjunctive syllogism, but
Mm-hmm.
couldn't you say 2, 4 in, because the double negation on the S leaves only the N left?
Yeah, and that's a disjunctive syllogism.
Oh,
Yeah, so both of them are disjunctive syllogisms. Good. Any other ones we want to do in particular?
Can you pick 17?
Sure. S or A then C. A or C then F. A, not F. Okay, what can I derive from this?
So I got the A to C for 1 for disjunctive syllogism.
Good, yeah, 1 for disjunctive syllogism. Now just to go slowly, right? You're eliminating this, and so you're left with this whole side, right? That whole side here is triangle in our normal formula, right? Okay, cool. So I've got A and C. Is there anything else I can get?
Then I got C
Good.
for 3, 5 times 1.
Got 3, 5 modus ponens. Is there anything else I can get?
You get, 2, 4 disjunctive. I don't know what the rule is because there's no F. Wouldn't that imply that could not that C, if C then F would be false, so you'd be left with A because 4 says not F.
No, but think of it this way. C then F is purely hypothetical. It's not saying F is true. It's saying if C was true, then F was true. You could get, if you wanted to do 2 and 4, A or C, because this says F is required for C, but you don't have an F. I'm sorry, not C. But you don't have an F, so you don't have a C, right? So that could be done there. But that's complicated. That's like using the rules within the multi-levels of rules in one thing. But, okay. Any other ones?
18.
18?
Sorry, I just have a question.
Yeah.
Back to number 14, like when we have 2 conclusions, I guess, or whatever, like, do you just write C at the end of the line?
Yeah, in this, so like if you have multiple conclusions from the premises, yeah, with these aren't really arguments, right? So you don't have to label them, it doesn't matter. In a normal argument, you will only have one final conclusion. But yeah, for this stuff, it doesn't matter how you label them. Whatever helps you see it more clearly. What was the other one, 18?
Yes, sir.
R, N, M. then B, M then C, E then M or E, not M. So what can I conclude from that? Do you have ideas, Julian?
Do what, I'm sorry?
Do you have any ideas for this one?
I did, and then I erased it all. And I never put a line down with what I was working with. But I
Good.
put it as 5, not R. But I know that was wrong. So would you
Not
go
R.
with like 2, 4?
What, were you saying not R from this and this?
Yes.
Yeah, that's wrong. Now,
That's why I erased it. 'cause then I-
now, real quick though, this though, if you just had this part, R then M, you could do not R, right?
Yes.
With most tolerance. So, this is technically right. You can't just have not R because you've got this whole thing that's embedded within. But you can go not R then D.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just complicated, so I don't know what to do about it, but
2, 4, not C.
2, 4, not C? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. If you had this, you could have C. Yeah. But the only time you can deny something in a conditional and get something else is if you deny the right-hand side, and that means you have to deny the left-hand side too, with modus tollens. What else do we see?
We have R then M E from 1 through 8 hypothetical syllogism.
Okay, right. If you look at 1 and you look at 3, R then M gives you D, but D gives you M or E. So that means, since this gives you D and D gives you this, that this has to give you this, right? So, R, then M or E, 1, 3, hypothetical syllogism. Is there anything else we can get here? Anybody see anything? I don't. What if I did this?
We could see.
Now I get C from 2 for modus ponens. And then what if I did, instead of M, I did not M or E? What can I get with that?
R then M, most tolerance.
Say that one more time.
R then M, most tolerance 4, 5.
R then M, modus ponens 4, 5. Yeah, good. Well, no, actually, close. If I'm going to do a modus tollens, I'm going to deny
sorry,
this side.
not R then M,
Yeah, and I'll get not R in it. From 4, 5, modus tollens. 8, I can do something else too.
Then you do 3, 4, not D.
Good.
Modus tollens.
3, 4, not D, modus tollens. Is there anything else we can do with this one? I don't think so.
So if we leave the equation exactly as it is, and we stop with 5?
You
If
could.
you were taking the negation away from line 4 and you added 4E.
Yeah, I changed up 4 twice. But the original problem is just asking you to get one thing.
What?
The original problem is just asking you to get one thing from it.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is just us toying around with more different things. But the original answer would have been, I think, was it C here? I don't remember.
Not M.
Not M. It would have just, that just would have been the answer. Just that one thing. Yeah. Okay. Any other of these we want to work on? All right, let's do some proof homework. Unless we want to do 7.1.2, which is like fill in the gap. It's similar to this, except instead of deriving the conclusion, you're saying how that you got the conclusion and filling in the gaps. Do you want to do proofs, like full proofs, or do you want to keep working on this type of thing? Raise your hand if you want to do full proofs. Raise your hand if you want to keep working on this kind of thing. Raise your hand if you don't care. Okay, full proofs win by a narrow margin. Okay, so let's get our books open. 7.1.3. I'm not sure which ones. Did we do any from the book last time? I don't think so. I think I just made them all up. Let's take turns coming up and doing these. All right, remember your number. 7, 20, 3, 13. 6 for Julian. And did I already say 17? 17. Okay. Remember your numbers? Because I don't. Okay, so let's work on these real quick. We haven't done them. And then once we're done, as soon as someone's done, you can just walk up and start doing it. All right. H then not even, C then not. I think you're missing a negation on the D. On 1.
Yeah, I am.
Cool. All right, take us through this proof. How do we do this?
Okay. So we want to get not C. And so the only place that C shows up is here. So we're going to have to get to there somehow.
Okay, so see what he's doing? He's looking first at how he's targeting his conclusion. Like, where could I possibly start to try to find my conclusion in the premises? And he's looking up, the conclusion's not C, so I must be starting somewhere with premise 1. I've got to do something with premise 1, because it's the only place I have a C, right? Okay, sorry.
And so we can get this part. We have H, and we can get H from this. So we have H from 3, 4, syllogism.
Good.
And so now we can get this from notice points. Reflects on notice points. That's
Cool. Does everybody see how he did 6? Okay.
and then we have not E speaking with this. I'm gonna continue writing over here because I'm running out of room. And so we can actually get, we can also get not D,
Good.
which is just D, but I'll leave it like that because
Yeah.
to me it makes it clearer from 4 to. And so then not see, because we have 8 and 7 notice terms.
Good job. Awesome. Okay, nice. Yeah, that was really good. That was very clear. We could have just to know also, like, as I was mentioning earlier, it's totally fine to work within, like, these parentheses and these groups you have. So you could have done a hypothetical syllogism with this, and then it would become, this whole thing would be then H then, not E then, C then, E, right? So those type of moves are totally valid. Like, you can do anything like that if you can see it. Does anybody have questions on this one? Okay, cool. Who's next? Who wants to go next?
Things like,
Yeah. Here is your chalk, and good luck. All right, not S then D, not S or not D then K, not D therefore K. How are you gonna start this?
okay, so for the first one, we have a not D and there's D there, so you can get not S.
Good.
So 1, 2, and then for 5, since you have the not S, and there's the or, you can get the not D as K.
Good. If somebody, while we're doing these, does not like understand or like doesn't understand how we did a step, like you can stop us and have us explain it, okay? Like anyway.
And then you can get to K because you have the not D.
Good. Cool. Okay, good job. Yeah. That was a quick one. All right. Volunteers? Yeah, that chalk sucks. My wife has sensory processing disorder. If she was in this classroom right now, she'd have like a meltdown. You know, it's weirdly hard to find chalk now. Like Walmart doesn't just have like good chalk. I almost bought a pack of like the Crayola sidewalk chalk to write with. I was like, is that the same thing? Does it screw up the board? I don't know.
I mean, even if it does, it's their fault for not giving you good chalk.
Right, exactly.
It's also their fault for still using a chalkboard.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that chalkboards are still in use.
Forgive my awful handwriting. I haven't written on a chalkboard in forever.
It's not bad.
But, so for the first step, we have L then E because of a 1, 2 disjunctive syllogism.
Good, yeah.
And then we have not L because of a 3, 4 notice elements.
Good, yep, perfect. Okay. Now, let's say I want to make this worse, and I want you to give me a well, let's actually do this. Actually, let's keep it that way. Does your proof still work with that change? Where instead of 2 being not K and B, it's instead not K and B and H or T. How does your proof still work?
The proof still works because we don't have any reason to negate the H or the T, meaning it can all still be true.
It is all true. So 2 says both of those things are true, right? But you used 2 originally. You used this part of 2, right? To deny this and get this. So why does this proof still work? How can you essentially, why is 4 justified? Why can you go 1, 2 to 4?
Other than because it's just a disjunctive syllogism.
Right, so it is still a disjunctive syllogism, but is this whole thing, are you using this entire thing to negate this?
No, we're just using what's within those
You're
parentheses.
just using this part, right? So whenever you have an and, again, this is just 2 things that are joined together. You can break these apart and use them. Whenever you see ands, whenever you see things inside a parentheses with an and, again, what does an and mean? They are both true. So you can just break ands apart as much as you want. Right? If I have this, I can derive from this K, right? I can derive from this B. If I have these 2 things, I can derive not K and B, and I can derive H or T. And if you didn't go through all of the steps to kind of break them down, break them apart, you can still say, if you see something big like this, and it has kind of the tool you need inside of it to do something else, it's fine. You can make multi-step calls. So you can say, well, there's still 1, 2 disjunctive syllogism, because I have enough in 2 to deny this, if you're seeing it. Does that make sense? Okay. Good job, guys.
You don't have to bring the H or T down?
I mean, you can, if you want to be thorough. So here's how I could do this, right? If I had this instead,
Am I good to go?
yeah, you can, sorry. You don't have to wait for my permission. So there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either be really quick and just see things quickly and go 1, 2, disjunctive syllogism, because I'm using this part of 2, right? Or, if you want to be thorough, you go, okay, from 2, I have K and B, right? And this rule, oh man, I can't remember what this rule is called. It's not called addition, whatever. I break this big and apart into the components, right? Does that make sense, Joe? Okay. It's raining and it's pouring. That means, if I say it's raining and it's pouring, I can conclude from that it's raining, right? Does that make sense? I can also conclude from that it's pouring. So if I have this big thing, not K and B and H or T, I can just break that apart into its parts and use them. Does that make sense?
I'm understanding that, so why are you not bringing the H or T down?
I can, if I want to. I don't have to. I don't need to. Do I need to bring H or T down to solve the problem? Mm-mm. But it's totally fine for me to do it.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, once we get all of our 18 rules, and this will be one of the new rules I think we learn next time maybe, once we get all 18 rules, it's kind of becomes a matter of just doing whatever you can to get the conclusion to come out. And just fooling around with a million steps even if you don't need them.
So you sort of answered my question, but like say on the homework, if I wanted to use exactly what you just did, like say you have a premise and it says parentheses A and B, and I wanted to get either A or B, so I would put A, but then what would I put next to that, like for the rule that I just used?
So in that case, you just put disjunctive syllogism, that would be fine. Yeah. As long as it's clear what you're doing and you're making a valid move, I'll be able to tell, right? So the way the book teaches it is you have to go in all these baby steps, constantly, the smallest possible steps you have to do. But it's not a real restriction, right? If you can see a move that you could make and maybe jump and like we were just doing, technically that move was made of like two different moves. You can just do it at once to save time, is what I'm saying, yeah. Or if you just see something and you're like, that makes sense, I can just do it. That's fine, just call out your numbers especially. Any other questions? Okay, who's next? Yeah, take it away. So is it 4-3 disjunctive syllogism, you got not H, right?
Yes, sir.
Good, okay, good.
I was so lost these past few days, and then all of a sudden, just randomly while I was doing the homework, it clicked, and I could just see it like we were talking about. So
That's what happens, like it just all of a sudden just kind of clicks. Okay, cool. That looks right to me. Does everybody see any mistakes or anything? Yeah, I think that's right. Good job. Yeah, great. Yeah, see, it just clicks. But it takes different people different amounts of time. Any questions on this one? How it worked? Your turn.
I got something completely different.
For this one?
I'm wondering if I'm making up my own.
For this same thing?
Yeah.
Come on up and put it up.
Oh.
Yeah, come on. Let's see what you did.
Well, I thought I was doing good last night. Now I have no confidence in this.
You know, confidence is overrated. Confidence leads to complacency and laziness. Bad
Or good
self-esteem.
grades.
Well, it depends.
Okay, so I did, and I had the same problem. I did not get what he got for 20 either. So now I'm wondering if I'm just making stuff up in my head to make it work. So I got 1, 3.
Oh,
And then
wait, that's,
So
you're not wrong.
And then I got F or R, 2, 3, B, S, and then I got F, 4, 6, C, S.
2, 3, B, F, F, O, R. 2, 3. Where are you getting F from 2 and 3 though? Right, but it's 1 or 2.
but- So 2, that's why I was making stuff up in my head when I thought like.
Yeah, that one I don't think can possibly work. But this one was weird at first, but then I realized that what you're doing is what I just talked about.
So could it be, hold on, 5,
Mm-mm.
I think I was looking at this line when
Yeah,
I did that.
I think
Okay,
so, too.
that, now I understand.
Yeah,
what it is.
but this one, you saw I'm just gonna isolate 1. And I'm gonna isolate 3. Wait, is that the right one?
1/3.
Oh. So I isolate those 2.
Because wouldn't the H
So,
negate the
okay,
H out and leave
yeah,
the R?
this is technically right in a very, like, you're seeing something correct. Look, if you're gonna have one of these. Now, if you have not H, what happens? Well, if you had not H, you would negate this H and be
Yes.
left with this.
But what would
Right?
you do with this?
Well, see, the thing is, you don't know which one of these you're gonna have. This is another, like, when you have an or an arrow, it's not saying you actually have anything. It's saying you have something, but we're not gonna tell you what it is. This just means you have this one or this one, but you don't know which
But if
one.
you don't have, since you're negating out H and you don't have it, you get either or. So wouldn't that leave the R?
So let's say that the one that I have here is not H, right? If the one that I have here turns out to be not H, then I can use this with this to get this with a disjunctive syllogism, right? So you're seeing that if this, if the disjunct or the horn of the disjunction, if this side were the thing that happens, the result of that would be Q or F. So then you're saying, well, I don't know which one's going to happen. But if this one happens, then that's just R. But if this one happens, then the implication of that is Q or F. And that's not wrong. It's just very convoluted. It's like three inferences in one. But it's not wrong, right? But going step by step in the smallest movements will be the most clear, to clear up any confusion. Let's do your problem.
Now I'm thinking of making up a little system and get first.
Close. So what happens with a modus tollens, you deny the right-hand side, right? And then that leaves you with a denial of the left. Does that make sense?
Because that wasn't, so would it,
So if I have K then L, and I deny L, what am I left with? Not K. So you're
that's
saying,
what I thought on my step 5.
right, but so this has to be not K. Because you're trying to do a modus tollens on this, right? This
So would it be?
and this. Your
Oh,
answer,
I'm sorry. That's what I meant.
1, 2 modus tollens. You
No.
can't do that. No, because so you don't have, in order to do a modus tollens or modus ponens, you have to have something, right? But this, you don't actually have anything here. It's just saying, I have at least something, but I don't know which one. So let's say, if I wanted to do modus ponens on this, how can I do modus ponens on this? What do I need? A positive what? So if I want to derive that with modus ponens, what do I need?
J.
Okay, if I want to deny J with modus tollens, what do I need?
Negated,
Yeah,
negated, the KL.
uh-huh. And negate negate the entire right side, and I'm left with that. What you're doing here is you're looking at 3. You were right originally, 3. You got not L here, right?
Yeah.
And you're isolating this in your mind. And if I have K then L, I can get, with a not L, I can get a not K, right? But that's embedded within this big thing. So you're doing this within this big thing.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah. So it would be J then not K. That's technically right. Complicated, but right. Okay. So that's fine. Let's take it in terms of the smallest steps, though. Smallest steps possible. What can you do with 2 and 3? Positive J. So remember with,
So if
yeah.
it's an or, you don't bring down the negation, is that
So
only if it's then?
square or triangle, I don't have square, so what am I left with? Triangle. So L or J, I don't have L, so what am I left with? J. Does that make sense? Okay, so you've got J. 5. What can I do with J? Let's say 1 and 4. What rule is that? Yes, good. 1, 4. Good. Yeah, modus ponens. Okay. Now, what can I do with 3 and 5? That's just 3, right? 3 and 5. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Because this symbol,
Uh-huh.
you bring down the negation. Correct? Because that,
I
and
don't-
because
I
that.
don't like the language of bring down the negation. I think we're gonna have to work on reprogramming that sort of talk. I think that's what's confusing you. So think of it as you're negating the right-hand side. So if I have square then triangle, I want to negate this right-hand side, whatever that is, right? Not triangle. Now, that triangle could be 5,000 things long. I just want to negate the whole right-hand side there. Well, that means that if I negate the right-hand side, that I then have to negate the left-hand side too, in terms of its meaning. Does that-
Because of this symbol, correct?
Because of that symbol.
Because if it was an or, you wouldn't use the negate, you wouldn't be negated. Is that correct? So if this was K or
Right.
L, and I use that would just say K.
Yes. Well, yeah, that would just stay K with the disjunctive syllogism, right? Yeah. So the rules of inference, like modus ponens, only applies to this operator, right? Disjunctive syllogism only applies to the or operator. But yeah, you're absolutely right. If that would just be K, if instead of this, you had this, then yeah, 3 and 5 disjunctive syllogism would give you K. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Okay, and that's, well, you already saw that you got not K, right? Okay. Yeah. So there you go. Does that make sense to everybody? Step by step what we're doing? I'm trying to think. How are you seeing that, John? Like you saw the correct move embedded within like a big long string, like a big long one, and you can see that right move. So I think you understand the rules. I think you're stressed out.
I am, very sure.
I think you're stressed out.
Because some of them I'm getting right, like other people are doing, and then half of them I'm not.
Yeah, I think what happens a lot is we get on a streak where we make some mistakes and we're getting frustrated with ourselves, and then that just like, every time we start approaching logic and start doing these proofs again, we're kind of like in this headspace that's gonna, I'm not joking, like when I was doing the master's here and was in the mathematical logic course, I would literally come and like, every day it made me hate logic so much that I would cry. I would legit cry every time I opened that logic book, because it's so frustrating to me. And then my professor sat me down and was just like, yeah, you need to not be so stressed out about this. It doesn't matter that much. I was like, okay. And he's like, let's just start over. Let's just start from the bottom up. Like, just go restart everything. And don't be so stressed out about while you're doing it. And I restarted that entire book halfway through the semester, and I was like, oh, I get it now. Yeah, my head was too clouded. All right, any other questions? Anything else we want to go over? I can make up some proofs. We can do more homework. We've still got time. What do we want to do? What would be best for us to do? Opinions? Anyone? No? If you understand proofs well enough and you don't want to be here anymore, you're free to go. If you get 7.1. If you want to do more, we can stay and do more. And if you're struggling, we can stay and keep doing practice problems. But I won't keep anybody here if you feel like you don't need to be here or whatever, right? That being said, if we're all going to stay, then let's do more problems from 7.1. Let's do, well, okay, who's leaving, who's staying? Leaving? Stay?
I have a test.
Okay, yeah, go. Who's staying? Okay, cool. Yeah, let's just work. All right, I will see anybody who's leaving later. Of course, I gave you permission, no judgment. All right, 7.1.3. Have you both done all the homework? Where are you in the homework?
Oh, I only got up to
Okay, let's start back. Let's go back to basics. Let's have both of you actually come on up. I mean, we're going to be the only three in the room, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, have a good one.
I think I'm right on the verge of the cliff.